Sunday, the official close of Christmas for the 2018-2019 calendar year. Yesterday marked the last of the 12 days of Christmas. Any way you measure it, the season of Christmas has once again ended. I'm always saddened to see the Christmas holidays end. Apparently so are you. Look, actually Christmas decorations. It is this time of year, as no other, when we celebrate the birth of our Savior, that the church really feels most like Christ in congregation. The presence of Jesus is palpable in all of it. It is during this joyous time that Christians truly become one church in the name of the Savior. Here we gather this morning in our first service in God's house of the new year of our Lord 2019. Will 2019 perhaps be the year of Jubilee, when all peoples and all nations gather to the light of Christ? Oh, if only it could be so. Or will this be just another 365 days of hatred and hurting? Same stuff, different year. What might the wise men of this age conjure up, assuming there are 3 wise men in this age? I know of only one, and all the world's lowest mouth breathers gather to hate. I guess this is the price of being right and the world gone to sing the wrong. What star will our leaders follow? Who or what will guide their decisions? Stay tuned. Who were the 3 wise men of the gospel? Theologians and historians propose any number of possible origins. Some tradition insists that they were men of high position in Parthia, near the site of ancient Babylon. Still others maintain that the 3 were each from different lands representing the entire world as it was known at that time. Truly 3 kings of the Orient. A note of interest. In the year 614 AD, the Persian Empire invaded the Holy Land and destroyed all of the churches and convents. According to some historians, they destroyed more than 300. The Church of the Nativity was the only edifice that escaped their destruction. A mosaic scene of the Nativity representing the wise men in ancient Persian costumes worshiping the child deterred the invaders from their vengeance. What might have been the motivation of these 3 mysterious travelers? These men were surely not children of Israel. The gods they worshipped most likely had names like Baal, El, Astarte, Asherah, all ancient gods of the Canaanites. And these men were magi, masters of the mystic and practitioners of the arcane, astrologers, alchemists, sorcerers. And yet, when they were summoned by our God to seek the newborn king, they didn't argue. They didn't debate, and they most certainly didn't ignore. They did not seek counsel with their gods or chief priests. They did not call a staff meeting or appoint a committee or task force to study the matter and report findings. They simply set out on their ship to find this king, traveling thousands of miles over many months, lit only by a single bright star. Ships, you ask? What are you talking about, Bill? They're in the desert. What ships would they be on? They wouldn't even water right. Camels, dromedaries, creations of God designed to be beasts of burden and so perfectly suited to long-distance travel in their environment that they earned the label ships of the desert. Night and day, these men steered their course, chartered by a star, carrying their vessels of precious gifts and seeking a king. And when their travels brought them to Jerusalem, the Magi sought help from King Herod the Great, king of Judea. For so it has been written by the prophet, and you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, for from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel. had been granted the title King of the Jews by Rome. But he was never accepted as such by the people of Israel because he was only partly Jewish and not of the Davidic lineage. Because of this, Herod was constantly worried about losing his position as ruler. The scriptures tell us that Herod was disturbed at the news of the newborn King of the Jews. Disturbed? It's a massive understatement of the king's reaction. His immediate response was to locate and kill this child who might one day clothe him. I do not accept that these learned mystics were actually taken in by Herod's cat and mouse game. You go find him and tell me where he is so I can throw him a good party. No. They weren't fooled by that. However, Herod did point them in the right direction. Contrary to what nature seems to predict, Jesus would have been about 2 years old and living with his parents in a house in Bethlehem by the time the Magi finally located him. Nevertheless, these travelers immediately recognized Jesus as the subject of their quest and bowed down before him, worshiping him. And they offered their vessels of precious cargo, transported so many miles. A chest of gold, the traditional gift for a king. A cask of frankincense, a gift offered to a deity. And a vial of myrrh, a precious spice used in burial preparations and traditionally given to a man who was going to die. And I believe that the Magi realized at this time the true significance of this event, that they were allowed to participate. They understood that they were in the presence of the once current and eternal King of the universe, the Word made flesh, God made man. And they probably felt that their presence were most insufficient in the presence of such majesty. They were participating in a feast of celebration. God's table overflowed with ambrosia and the finest wine. And all they had to offer was burgers and fries. But as the story played out, the three Magi gave Jesus a gift much more precious than any they had borne with them. They gave him their love. Warned in a dream not to reveal Jesus to Herod, they returned to their homes by another route. They eased out the back door around midnight, slipped down the alley, and cruised back to their own church before anyone noticed. You don't call them wise men for nothing. And to disobey King Herod was no small matter. Herod was famous as a brutal and ruthless king who displayed loyalty only to himself. The lives of the three would surely be forfeited if they had been caught. And yet, their instant loyalty to the child king overpowered their fear of Herod. How ironic that the three wise men's greatest gift to Jesus was carried within their hearts, to which their offerings of elements precious to man paled in comparison. Their greatest gift to God was to use their gifts from God. What fitting gift do we bring to our Savior today? How are we justified in God's sight? What vessel do we carry to the altar? The same vessel we have been given our entire lives. This vessel, which contains our hopes and our dreams and needs and fears. This vessel which executes our actions right and wrong. This vessel which has been stained and marred with sin, only to be washed clean and new by the blood of Jesus. This vessel which we pray God to point in a direction and give us a star to follow so that His will may be done. This vessel alone contains the gift fit for our King. And this vessel, our essential gift from the Father, is the vessel that God longs to utilize. It is the vessel in which His continued ministry is carried to this lost and desperate world. A world which has wandered so far from the Father's love. A world which now hides its collective fame, its collective face, in shame and disgrace. It is these vessels in which the truth of the Christmas miracle can cast light into all corners of the earth that have been darkened by fear and hatred. The miracle of Christmas most wonderfully described in a poem by Susie M. Best entitled The Miracle Dream. That night, when in Judean skies the mystic star dispensed its light. A blind man moved into sleep and dreamed that he had sight. That night, when shepherds heard the song of host's angelic choir in the air, a deaf man stirred in slumber spell and dreamed that he could hear. That night, when in the cattle stall slept child and mother, cheek by jowl, turned his twisted limbs and dreamed that he was whole. That night, when o'er the newborn babe the tender Mary rose to lean, a loathsome leper smiled in sleep and dreamed that he was pleased. That night, when to a mother's breast the little king was held secure, a harlot slept in happy sleep and dreamed that she was cured. That night, when in the manger lay sanctified who came to save, a man moved in the sleep of death and dreamed there was no grave. Having shared the wisdom and passion of another American poet, I wish to close the words from another great American and Christian, Mr. Garth Brooks. The chorus to his song, The River. I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry. Like a bird upon the wind, these waters are my sky. I'll never reach my destination if I will even try. So I will sail this vessel till the river runs dry. Now may the peace and grace of the Father, the eternal love of the Son, and the endless power of the Holy Spirit strengthen and comfort you in all your